I'm going to jump into 32 here. It's the next point logically in the discussion here. This is called in motion. Again, lech lecha, God is telling Abraham, lech lecha, keep going. Not just one time, you got to keep going all the time, your whole life. Then here's the crucial point. Even if sometimes you're walking backwards, at least the main thing is you're on the way. But at least, and Shlomo makes the point, even if I keep moving, well, you know, even though I'm going backwards at the moment, I can look forward, maybe tomorrow I'll succeed in going forwards. Okay, now Shlomo is not making the distinction between the two kinds of motion here. You know, some kind of fool running around, you know, selling dope or something is also keeping motion in motion. He's afraid to stop because he's got to get his supply of dope the next day, and if he doesn't sell a certain amount of dope, he's going to be in trouble. So this guy is a frantic, compulsive person, and now he would fit into this idea of keep moving. So now here's a very important principle here. So now that you see more and more why I picked these stories, because they get right to the heart of the whole dialectical tradition here. Watch this one now. This will blow your mind. How is it possible that we keep going and we go backwards at the same time? Well, that's part of the trip, you know. Nachman Bresov says the descent for the sake of the ascent, or I'm sure you find that all over the place, all kinds of traditions. Descent for the sake of ascent. In other words, how to say this in the most simple, we're talking about the idea of tzimtzum, by the way, tzimtzum, contraction. Now that's an extremely difficult, profound idea, but I want to make it somehow simple here, and in a sense like this. Let's see. All right, we have the thesis. Well, I start off on my trip, and along the way, I get all mixed up. I have all kinds of opposites as I go from the thesis to the antithesis. So I went backwards. I thought I was going forwards, but by getting all mixed up into opposites, I went backwards. Now how am I going to get to go forwards again? Well, the magic trick is the idea of tzimtzum, and the best idea to grasp what that is to use the model of Gestalt therapy. I hope you're not afraid of Gestalt therapy. If you're afraid of Gestalt therapy, push the delete right now, because I've been using that technique for 38 years and working with people, and I take it very seriously. So how does it relate to Gestalt therapy? Well, it's really very simple. I started my Gestalt session, I'm aware of this, I'm aware of that. Next thing you know, I'm all confused, I have all kinds of opposites. So what does the director say? Close your eyes, go inside, daydream, forget about all the opposites, go into what? The void. And in the void, you will find, if you're a little patient, a new idea. The new idea which will encompass the opposites. So now we have a dialectical system which is a little more complicated. We don't just have x going to x versus minus x. We have x going to x versus minus x going to 0, the void, where you will find y waiting for you, if you have patience and a little bit of faith, that will then encompass the two horns of the dilemma, and which will take you to the next cycle, the next loop on the thing here. Okay, so what did you do? You went backwards, down, in order to go up. Because if you didn't go down, you wouldn't get to the mixed up enough so that you would be willing to close your eyes and go inside, find a new idea. In Gestalt therapy, they call this the rhythm of contact and withdrawal. Couldn't be simpler than that. You contact all the different things in your experience until you get all mixed up. You go inside, withdraw, and inside you find waiting for you the new idea, and then the new idea, you somehow allow yourself to flow with that new idea, and that will take you out of the confusion to the next level, where you will begin again the next section of your experience. Okay, so that's it. Now we solve the second one. All right, the idea of in motion on page 132 here. So on the one hand, Abraham's got to keep going. It's not a one-shot thing. A Yid has to keep going all the time, says Shlomo. And an erlich Yid, a real, true blue Jew, even if he sometimes walks backwards, at least he is walking and at least he's on the way. Okay, so that's the idea. Going backwards is a major process in this dialectical experience, this truth search that underlies, like I said, just about every major religion I know about. Right? Now, here we've come to a fork in the road, though. We have two kinds of kabbalah, vanilla and chocolate, you might say. We have vanilla, which is the simpler kind in some sense, where there is no void to worry about so much. It's mostly about compromising. You have two things, I don't know, do this, should I do that, so I find some kind of a rational compromise. A synthesis, it's still a synthesis, so we still have going from the thesis to the antithesis to the synthesis, but it's kind of mostly a more rational thing where you bring the two together. But now we introduce the idea of a void where you get lost enough so you're willing to let yourself not know long enough to discover a new idea. And that's chocolate Kabbalah, you might say, and that's what characterizes the Kabbalah. Well, let's be very specific here. So we have the one that's based on has the void, doesn't have the void in it, the vanilla, a simple one. That's the Aristotelian tradition of dialectical thinking. Aristotle going to Maimonides, the guide, going to Chabad, going to SHLOM. Those are the main things that are relevant right now in our discussion. And the opposite tradition is the Neoplatonic, Plato Neoplatonic tradition, going from Plato to, as far as Judaism is concerned, to Philo, and then to, let's skip everybody else in the middle, to Nachman of Breslov. So the main way I think keep it straight is to just think of Chabad or Breslov as chocolate and vanilla and chocolate, without the void, with the void. I'm not saying there's no void in Chabad, and I'm not saying that there's no rational thinking in Breslov. I'm just talking about emphases. Okay, so there are two traditions here, and my conclusion is from studying this whole book is that Reb Shlomo Carlebach is 2/3 in the Breslov tradition and 1/3 in the Chabad tradition. We know historically that he was a student of Chabad for a while, but we know that he was probably very much influenced by Nachman of Breslov. He quotes him a lot. So that's appropriate. Just about every major thinker needs to some way or other bring these two traditions together. Okay.